Akira is your typical gamer boy, and since he's Asian, he's actually very good at it. And like all gamer boys, his room is an absolute mess. Akira finds his reality boring, and he'd rather play games whenever he can, wherever he goes. One day, a giant man with mummy wrappings appears and attacks him. Maybe he just wants to talk about his lord and savior, Ra, the Egyptian sun god. Akira escapes to an abandoned building, and the man comes after him. Akira uses some traps to attack him, but it doesn't seem to work one bit. Suddenly, a woman named Mion comes and challenges him to a fight. With a 5 seconds countdown, the battle starts and Mion immediately wrecks him. Akira wakes up in a mysterious place, and his hands are handcuffed together in strange handcuffs. His wounds have also healed. There are lots of people around him as well. Mion appears and says that to the rest of society, they are already dead. Kinda reminds me of Squid Game. Mion does not reveal her plans, so a bit strong man goes to threaten him. And of course, the rule of anime is that a big strong man isn't really a threat. Except for you, Kato. Mion kills him with ease with her power to turn her hand into a hand cannon. She says that they all have been given unique abilities. When the handcuffs turn green, they will get removed in 5 seconds, and they will be able to use their powers. They are allowed to hurt or kill anyone else here. Then, they are sent to separate rooms to prepare for this strange game. Akira finds a piece of paper with his abilities explained on it. His power is whatever the other person thinks it is. Heh, that's, something. Soon, their first round begins, a 1 versus 1 fight. Akira is paired with Madoka, a bad boy who hates school and likes to cause trouble. After a 5-second countdown, the fight begins. Madoka turns a stick into a sword, and he starts cutting anything that Akira throws his way. So, Akira runs into the laboratory where Madoka tells him to admit defeat, as that is also another way of ending a battle. Akira sets up the environment in such a way that Madoka starts believing Akira has the hand cannon ability. And because his opponent thinks that, Akira gets to use the cannon. He blows Madoka away with a super powerful bang. Before Akira can make the finishing blow, Madoka surrenders. Mion declares Akira as the winner while clapping like a psychopath. That's quite the tricky power, to be honest. Akira decides to keep his actual power a secret so that everyone will continue believing his power to be the hand cannon. Time to change characters, guys. We're going to have to get to know a lot of people after all. Yuri is a high school girl who has a stalker following her. Her mother also has a promiscuous habit, and she brings home new men every day for wrestling in bed. This new man has a daughter himself, and she's a cute little child named Riria. One day, Yuri sees her stalker getting ready to end his life, so Yuri runs to save him. She reaches him, but the stupid psychopath pulls her along with him, and that's how she ended up in his battle game. I hope you guys are sympathizing with this character by now. Yuri starts testing her powers, which creates a huge shockwave. It's pretty powerful, but not powerful enough to break out. Yuri thinks about her backstory again. While her mom was having fun with the new man, his daughter, Riria, is left in her care. Yuri feeds Riria, and thus she ends up feeling protective of her. Yuri vows to get out of this place so she can get back to that little girl. Yuri is put in a 1 versus 1 battle with a huge and strong man. He starts behaving in a typical I am a strong man attitude. His ability allows him to smell somebody's condition, like knowing whether Yuri is a virgin or not. Spoiler alert, she is. He is also a pervert, so he removes his clothes and starts rushing towards her, and he manages to grab her. The man has a pretty messed up past. He once murdered a prostitute when she tried to blackmail him. Yuri finally uses her power, and she punches him so hard he learns to do a backflip. Yuri has the ability to multiply her physical abilities 5 times. Once again, she vows to get back to Riria. Meanwhile, Akira is taken to a room full of other people for the second round. The second round will be a 5 versus 5 battle. They have 2 hours to prepare for the battle. His team members consist of Madoka and Yuri and 2 other new people. The big guy is named Shin, and he's a wrestler. He has the ability to become unbeatable, invincible for 2 seconds. The guy who looks like Lupin III does not reveal his name, so let's just call him Lupin. His ability is to turn a button into a rope, by far the second worst ability to have. Akira does not reveal his powers, as his teammates might become his opponents in future rounds, so he says that his ability is to use the hand cannon. Turns out they are not going to fight 5 versus 5 directly. It's going to be 1 versus 1, turn by turn. I mean, I understand. The author would have to go through hell to keep up with a group battle. Lupin is paired with a beautiful woman named Rin. Rin asks him to forfeit in exchange for some hanky-panky later, but Lupin does not accept. When Lupin takes his eyes off her for a short moment, Rin kills him with big spikes. None of them could realize what Rin's ability was. It's always the seductive girl who gets the scariest powers. Just look at Lust from Full Metal. The second match is between Shin and a reserved high school girl named Ringo. The moment the 5 seconds count down, Shin rushes toward her, but Ringo immediately forfeits. Everyone is shocked. Turns out, Ringo can copy 10% of her opponent's real powers. She tried to copy Shin's 2-second invincibility ability, but 10% means she would only be invincible for 0.2 seconds. So, she immediately forfeited. Very smart of her. Rin does not take this lightly, so she almost chokes Ringo to death, but another girl named Saeko calms her down, promising to win the next round. Saeko and Madoka are paired up next. Saeko slingshots marbles at him. Madoka swipes it away, and the marble becomes a giant wrecking ball. When Saeko attacks more, Madoka cuts one of them. His ability is to create not just a sword, but a sword that can cut through anything. Despite Saeko's best efforts, Madoka gains the upper hand and he forces her to surrender. But Saeko has one last trick left. She expands her marble right under Madoka's marbles. Madoka becomes unconscious and Saeko wins. Akira lovingly calls Madoka an idiot in the most polite voice possible. Next is Akira versus Kuji. Akira's team has 2 losses and 1 victory, so he must win. He goes to Madoka and taunts him. Since Madoka thinks that Akira's power is the hand cannon, Akira's hand cannon activates. His opponent, Kuji, starts crapping his pants, but when Akira shoots at him, Kuji creates a barrier which stops his attacks. So Akira uses the power of the Asian mum, as in, he throws his freaking shoe at Kuji. Then he goes behind him. Kuji forfeits and Akira wins. Akira realizes that Kuji's power is to nullify his opponent's powers when touching the ground. He also realizes that he can only use his powers when the other person is directly engaged with him. Bystanders may think his power is a hand cannon, but he can't use it if they are not engaged with him directly. Now, you might be wondering why Ringo does not use her powers to find out what Akira's real power is. You must remember the handcuffs. If it's red, then their powers are nullified. Now it's match 5, the tiebreaker. Yuri is paired with that psycho stalker Uji, the idiot who pulled Yuri off the building. Instead of being regretful, Uji seems all happy to be here with Yuri. Yuri, on the other hand, well, she wants to murder the crap out of him. Uji's ability is to turn his body as hard as iron, but Yuri still punches him off the stadium. Our Yuri is a real one-punch girl. Mion comes and congratulates the winning team. She puts blindfolds on them and takes them to a nice dinner. The losing team will be tortured and then killed. Nah, just joking. They will be forced to wear cute bunny uniforms and serve them food. Yuri says that her wrist hurts, so Akira ties his handkerchief to her. Another romance is budding in the air. It would be a shame if these two were paired to fight together. Later, Mion says that the bunny uniforms were just a bit of fun. The losing team will have another punishment. The winning team is taken to a chamber with 5 different doors. Each must take a different path. They all wish each other the best of luck and go separate ways. Before leaving, Akira holds Yuri's hand and asks her to stay safe. Yuri blushes and runs, but this is just a part of Akira's plan. For the third program, Akira is given an interface. He has 100 points and he must collect 1,000 points to advance. Every person he knocks out will get him 10 points. He meets a man named Katsuya. Instead of fighting, Katsuya tries to recruit him. Just then, Yuri comes to them, being chased by a bunch of perverts. Katsuya uses his powers, which is to turn wood into a bow that can shoot infinite arrows. The perverts have a hand cannon fighter. Akira also activates his hand cannon and they run away. Later, Katsuya says that the people in the third round have separated into reds and greens. The men before were of the red team, and they are led by 2 powerful people. He himself is one of the green team. They go to the green team's village. It's filled with old people and even babies. Their leader, Yuto, is an old man. They're happy to have people with offensive abilities like Akira and Yuri. Turns out, the green team doesn't have many fighters. Yuto tells them that they can collect points by completing quests, and they can exchange those points for supplies like medicines, food, etc. Since the fourth round is not guaranteed to be safe, the red team seems to have no intention of passing. They just want to stay in the third round while using their powers. Meanwhile, let's look at our villains. The leader of the red team is a giant man called Hajime, and the second leader is a calm and collected man named Masaya. Like typical villains, Hajime beats up the 4 perverts for failing their tasks today, while Masaya looks on coldly. Even that psycho Rin has joined their team. Green leader Yuto says that there's a third team, Team Blue, but they are neutral in the conflict between red and green. Yuto also says that the red team exploits anyone who is weak. Yuri gets angry and joins Team Green immediately. Akira has to make a choice. Akira points his cannon at Yuto. Yuto asks him to shoot, so Akira shoots the old man. Except that Yuto has an ability that can block even the cannon's powers. Akira is satisfied with Yuto's leadership, so he joins them. Just then, another green team member named Momoko informs them that a lot more new people have come to join them. Akira and Yuri are put in the same room, and they immediately find rubber inside. Maybe they can do something about their virginity, But Akira is more focused on something else. He tells her that his real power is telepathy. Yuri is confused, but he convinces her that it's true. Yuri believes him, and just like that, he gains the power of telepathy. Using this newfound power, they start talking through their minds. They start conversing about their families, and Akira starts trusting Yuri. So he reveals to her that his real power is whatever the other person thinks it is. Just then, Mion contacts them through a Zoom meeting. She sends them on a large-scale quest for the next day. Team Green reaches some ancient ruins where Mion brings out mummified ghouls to attack them. Every ghoul killed is 30 points, and they are not allowed to attack other humans. They all work together to beat down a lot of ghouls, but just then, Team Red arrives to create trouble. Since Team Green does not want to reveal their powers to their enemies, they leave the site. Team Red's second leader, Masaya, has the ability to force people to work for him in return for a favor. He has collected many people who owe him a debt, so he sends them to be attacked by the ghouls. Akira and the others start saving them, so Mion brings out her main ghoul, which is really powerful. Yuto has no other choice but to reveal his powers. His power allows him to conduct a peaceful negotiation with his opponent. When he ends the negotiation, he can return all the damage that he blocked, kinda like Melioda's revenge counter. He blasts a hole through the ghoul. I just want to point out, that's anything but peaceful. Masaya is happy to find out Yuto's powers. However, the ghoul eats other ghouls and regenerates. Their boss fight is not over yet. Yuri rushes in to save Yuto. By doing so, she also reveals her powers to Team Red. Akira also joins and reveals his powers, but he has a plan, and he tells this plan to Yuri. Yuri believes that Akira's power is teleportation, so Akira is saved. He gets close and uses the hand cannon to kill the ghoul, but the ghoul starts getting back up, so Red leader Hajime kills the ghoul. He starts talking about how exciting our heroes are, like all villains do. Yuri attacks Hajime, but her strength is useless. Hajime attacks her back, so Mion stops them and announces a new quest called Hunt the King. The objective is to take the opponent's leader, Interface, and transfer all his points. Mion also adds some spices. Everyone in the losing team will be killed. Since Team Green has many injured members, Mion declares that the Hunt the King challenge will happen in 7 days. Team Green starts fixing up their injured people. One of the people captured by the Team Red was Ringo, but she's in the Green team now. Ringo is also a gamer, and she recognizes Akira as a famous gamer. I guess she's developing feelings for him as well. The wrestler, Shin, also joins Team Green. Yuto tells everyone about the Hunt the King challenge. Everyone is hyped to fight and end Team Red once and for all. Later, Ringo tells Akira about her ability to know others' abilities. Since she was with Team Red for some time, she knows their abilities too. Akira realizes that he can use her. Yuri sees Akira and Ringo spending time together, and she starts getting a little suspicious and a whole lot jealous. Meanwhile, a Team Red member escapes from the Greens, and he tells Masaya that Akira's real ability is not the cannon. Akira takes Yuri to meet Team Blue for negotiations. They continue testing Akira's powers, like shapeshifting into another person. Akira reveals that Ringo knows of his real powers. They finally meet Team Blue. Akira asks their leader, Omoto, to join them. In exchange, he will give them hundreds of points. Omoto immediately starts simping over Yuri, so he demands her to join him in exchange for helping Team Green. However, Akira refuses. Omoto says that he himself will not join, but he will tell his team about the offer and they will decide. Madoka is also a part of Team Blue. He is still looking for a rematch with Akira, so he vows to join Team Red. Akira does not give a frick. The Hunt the King quest begins. Taking an opponent's interface will give you 1 point. Taking the interface away for 3 meters will seal the opponent's powers. Putting your own interface on one of the 5 towers will get you 10 points. They can use these points to do various things, like shutting down someone's abilities or finding their location. Team Green makes it their priority to seal Red Leader, Hajime's abilities. Katsuya manages to secure one of the towers. However, Hajime does not stay back and he fights in the front lines. He gets into a fight with Team Green's Asuka, whose ability is to create a sword and she can change the weight of the sword. She gives lots of weight to her sword and tries to crush him, but Hajime is too strong for her and he easily dominates her. Team Red also has other powerful generals who start dominating the battlefield. One of them, Rin, runs into Akira for the second time since they met in round 2. Neither of them knows how the other person's powers work. Rin tries to seduce Akira, but he does not take it. He makes a secret deal with Rin and leaves. Rin immediately contacts someone saying that she found Akira. Shin comes face to face with another powerful Team Red member, Setoguchi, who is covered in the blood of dead Team Green members. Setoguchi's ability is to shrink things. He ties a string to Shin's wrist and then he shrinks the string until he cuts Shin's hand. Meanwhile, Hajime is just about to kill Asuka, but Yuri makes a heroic entry and saves her. Yuri uses her 5 times multiplied strength to fight him, beating him terribly in that terrible 3D animation. The green team capture a spy that Team Red had put there. However, when they try to get him to talk, he is dead. Turns out there is another spy, the sweet old lady Momoko. Akira also comes face to face with Madoka, who is back for a rematch. Madoka can turn small wood pieces into small swords, called knives, and he uses these to attack Akira. Just then, another general from Team Red joins the battle. His name is Rindu, and like all Team Red members, he's a psychopath. Madoka temporarily allies with Akira to fight Rindu because Madoka wants the pleasure of defeating Akira by himself. Turns out, Akira actually called Madoka here while also asking Rin to call Rindu here. This was his plan. Rindu uses powerful invisible slices to attack them, so they team up properly and attack him from both sides. But Rindu stops Akira's cannon. However, Madoka turns the splinters into knives and kicks them at Rindu, which kills him. Meanwhile, another powerful Team Red member named Renka kills many Green Team members. So, a Green Team nun uses the last of her strength and her voodoo ability to kill this powerful fighter. Good for you, sister. You're the queen. But, what is this? Renka wakes up and fixes her neck. Just then, Rin comes behind her. These two girls do not like each other, as they are both alpha females in Team Red. Renka attacks with her tools and cuts Rin, but Rin uses her blood to create weapons. She attacks Renka and traps her. Then Rin rushes to the other person who is always with Renka. She stabs right through the box. The man inside is the one who is controlling the puppets. The girl pushing the box is just a slave of the Red Team. Rin has a deal with Team Green. If she kills a Red Team general, then Team Green will save her if Team Green wins. If Team Red wins, then she'll survive with them. But Rin still kills the slave to hide her secret. Meanwhile, Shin continues his battle with Setoguchi, and let me tell you, this Setoguchi guy is really annoying and overconfident. He continues using shrinking strings to cut parts of Shin. He even manages to reach his neck, but a Green Team girl named Hareka uses her wind powers to knock him down. Setoguchi attacks Hareka, so Shin uses their body to protect her. Shin does not like to use his powers because the memory of his brother's death still haunts him, but he needs character development right now, so he learns to use his powers without any guilt. He can become unbeatable for 2 seconds. For that, he has a nice little armor. He quickly grabs Setoguchi by the neck and knocks him out. Meanwhile, Katsuya is face to face with an old man from the Red Team. And like all anime old men, he is quite powerful enough to dissolve everything he touches. Just then, Akira arrives and sends Katsuya to help Yuri. Akira takes out Rindu's sword. The old man realizes that Rindu is dead, and he also starts believing that Akira can copy other people's abilities. And in doing so, he believes that Akira has Rindu's abilities. And by doing that, Akira gets to use Rindu's ability. he uses the invisible slash to kill the old man, as he can't dissolve invisible slashes. Meanwhile, Momoko reveals herself as the other spy when she tries to kill Yuto, but Yuto uses his powers to survive. She reveals that Team Red's leaders, Hajime and Messiah, are her children. She threatens to blow up a child, so Yuto throws away his interface. Then she shoots him. Momoko tells Messiah that Yuto is dead, but Mion reveals that they haven't won. Team Green chose another person as their king. So Momoko starts attacking Ringo to find out the answer. Ringo uses her own powers to copy Momoko's powers. Ringo's cannon has only 10% of the power, but she can shoot more quickly. Before their fight begins, Momoko puts the baby safely away. Momoko is a more seasoned fighter, and she manages to beat Ringo to the ground. But Ringo has the resolve to be stronger, after thinking about Akira's words. She manages to crush Momoko under some rocks and win their battle. Akira also manages to find Messiah. He used the points they collected to ask Mion where he was. Madoka and Shin also join Yuri in the fight against Hajime. However, Messiah has been waiting for Akira, and he has his slaves ready with him. One of them is Sayeko, who uses her marbles to stop Akira's attacks. Akira cannot attack them in return because they are being forced to do whatever it is they are doing. Akira tries using the Talk no Jutsu to gain some time. Messiah realizes what is happening, but he lets Akira talk and gives him some time. In doing so, Akira is now in a debt with Messiah, and because of that, Messiah can turn him into a slave. But since it was only a small debt, Messiah can only tie his legs to chains. Messiah starts thinking about what Akira's true ability could be. He thinks about the battle with the ghoul, and so he starts believing that his true ability is teleportation. Akira gets to use teleportation, but Messiah's slaves immediately grab him. He then steps forward and stabs Akira. However, Akira says that this was just his plan to get close to Messiah. Now, Messiah believes that Akira has Yuto's defensive powers, so Akira gets to use that power. He full counters the knife attack and knocks down Messiah. All the slaves are freed. On top of that, Akira reveals that he was wearing books and meat in case he got stabbed. Messiah admits defeat and hands his interface to Akira. Akira takes Messiah's points and runs to fight Hajime. Just then, Messiah pulls out another interface. He thinks about his sad past. Hajime and Messiah were orphans who grew up together. Momoko was one of their caretakers. Their headmaster was a terrible person who bullied them every time, and even Momoko was helpless to do anything. Snap back to reality, Hajime breaks Madoka's right arm and Yuri's left arm, and he even defeats Shin's invincible armor. Hajime was 11 years old when he just could not take the headmaster's beating. So, he took an ashtray and killed the headmaster just like that. Yuri and Hajime punch straight and both of their arms break. However, Hajime feels no pain and he continues beating her. However, Yuri also continues fighting back even with broken bones because, of course. Just then, Yuri loses her abilities and Hajime knocks her out. Turns out Messiah used their team's points to seal Yuri's powers. Hajime is about to kill her, but Akira uses one single point to send an announcement to everyone, including Hajime. If he kills Yuri, then Akira will kill Messiah. Akira challenges him to a 1 versus 1 fight. Hajime accepts the challenge, and they meet for the climax battle. Hajime quickly rushes towards him, but Yuri believes that Akira can use her power, so Akira is able to use her power of multiplying strength 5 times. On top of that, Hajime is rushing toward him, so the punch has even more effect. Hajime gets knocked out in one single punch. But, surprise surprise, that's not how final villains die. Hajime gets up and tells Yuri to take care of that girl she's fighting for. Then he dies. Meion declares that the quest is over and the green team will be winners. Everyone starts celebrating. Even green leader Yuto managed to survive somehow. Meion arrives and her men take all the injured people to take care of them. As Akira is washing his face, blue team leader Otomo comes and congratulates him. Otomo asks him what he thinks his power is. Akira panics and thinks of the cannon, so Otomo uses the cannon. Looks like his power is just like Akira's. Otomo says that he has no interest in this game. He just wants to kill Meion with his own hands. He wishes Akira the best of luck for the 4th round and leaves. Akira becomes unconscious, and he wakes up in his own home to his own daily routine. He walks around town and plays his games. He goes and meets Yuri, and she immediately jumps to hug him. Turns out, they have green tattoos on their wrists. The other members are also back in their daily lives, and they all have the same tattoos. And what the heck was all that at the end? That's a heck of a cliffhanger. We'll have to wait for season 2.